Hey there and welcome to the channel. Really excited to have you, and this is my first video. First round of the winter season in November. It's a windy and chilly day. You'll see me bundled up, playing the black tees at about 6,500 yards, and let's just cut right to it. Hole 1 of Reston National. It's a pretty straightforward hole. I'm lucky enough where I have a good kind of sweeping draw ball flight, which is my ideal ball flight, and puts me into a 56-degree wedge about 90 yards out. I'm able to stick it pretty close, and if you ask me, there's no better start than a birdie. I should probably just shut the camera off now. Everyone go home. What a start. We're 1 under through 1. On hole 2, it's a little toey of a drive, but it still ends up dead center fairway. You'll learn throughout the video and future videos, I'm not a long hitter. 240, 250 off the tee is my game, but I try to keep it in play as much as possible. So most par 5s like this one here, I have to play it pretty traditionally, where, reach in 3 and just hope for a good putt. Speaking of good putts, that first one was absolutely horrendous. For anyone watching and hoping to learn anything about putting, just erase that from your mind. Do the exact opposite of what you just saw. And I think that 3-putt trickled over to this tee shot as I had a little shank pull to the left. Luckily, it was a good miss, which puts me into a wedge, and I can save par. And on the theme of not being able to putt, there it is, right on cue. So I'm playing to about a 6.5 handicap, and my goal is to always try and break 80. You'll see this series, and for future series, I would love to break par, and I think I'm getting pretty close. One thing you'll learn about me and my game as I start tracking and documenting this process, my game is consistency, and I try to eliminate errors, but the downside is I don't really attack pins like I should be. So here is a good example of, my approach shot. Yes, I'm on the green, but I can't be putting 25 feet plus every time for birdie. Luckily, I have a pretty good 2-putt here where I clean up and save par, and so we're 1 over through 4. Hole 5 is another par 5, as I mentioned earlier, not a long hitter. That's actually one of my better drives of the day in terms of center club face and hitting it good. And then that's followed up by the worst shot of the day. That's a borderline shank with my 3-wood, which trickled up, and I think the leaves and thick rough really saved me from going OB. Well, at least we have a look at birdie, so I'm not that mad. And some of these putts, even though they look tricky and all over the place, they were pretty straightforward. Maybe the wind had something to do with it, but putting is something that I actually pride myself on, but not a really good start so far. So this one always plays a little tricky. It's an elevated par 3, so I usually take a little less club. I think that was a bad idea, as you see I'm about 5 to 10 yards short and just in the rough. I think that the wind was just swirling, and it was really hard for me to figure out my distances and what to do. But this next hole, it's one of my favorites of the course. It's a par 4 straightforward, but it adds a little more strategy where you just need a straight tee shot, no more than maybe 250, 260, because it's a dog leg left. And then, yeah, that's just awful. Jeez. Mark, what are you doing? That's just awful. At least I recovered nicely. Pretty good pitching wedge from about 119 into the wind, and I stick it to about, I think that's like 9-10 feet. And whoever the greenskeeper are, I need to have a conversation with you. If you're watching this video, Mr. Greenskeeper, what is that? Am I playing Pinehurst 2? If I was playing Pinehurst 2, I'll make the drive to Carolina and play it, but some of these greens today, that was one of the first, actually right on cue, if this is the hole that I'm thinking of. Pretty good drive, a good 5-iron that I leave the face open, but take a look at this putt. I absolutely guessed. This was just a guess putt, and I look really cool on video for what it's worth. Like, I just look really cool, like I'm a tour player basically, but that's like a 10-yard right to left break. Clean up for par, a little backwards left-handed putt. Don't do that if you're trying to score well, but I was just, I guess, pissed off. Then hole 9, just to round it off, I'm about 3 over. I'm really hoping for a birdie, par at the worst, because if I'm trying to break par in general, I know there's a few birdieable holes in the back. Unfortunately, I think the wind ate that. I'm a little bit short, and this chip gets away from me where ideally I'm maybe 7 feet in. This is about a 12, 13 footer with a big break, but luckily your boy drains it.